There is a pattern hiding inside the daily routines of millions of people over 60, one that feels completely normal, even comforting, and yet may be quietly accelerating the very decline they're trying so hard to avoid. It isn't one dramatic decision. It's 5 small, repeated habits, so ordinary that almost nobody thinks to question them, each one beginning with the same letter, each one seemingly harmless on its own. But together, they may be doing more damage to how you age than almost anything else in your daily life. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what these 5 habits are and which ones you might already be doing without even realizing it. Let's start with something most people never stop to consider. Aging is not simply something that happens to you. In large part, it is something that happens through you, through the daily choices, repeated thousands of times over the years, that either support your body's natural resilience or quietly wear it down. Most people assume decline after 60 is inevitable, an unavoidable biological countdown. But research increasingly suggests that a significant portion of what we call aging is shaped by consistent, everyday patterns. Patterns so small they rarely feel worth examining until you actually lay them out clearly. Here is where this becomes personal. Think about your own week, not in a critical way, but honestly. How much of it involves sitting for long stretches without moving, reaching for processed convenience food out of habit, feeling persistently stressed without much relief, skimping on real rest, and pushing your body without ever truly letting it recover? Most people will recognize at least 2 or 3 of these patterns in their own life almost immediately. Stay with me, because in less than a minute, I'm going to walk you through exactly what these 5 habits are and why researchers increasingly believe they may be accelerating aging far more than genetics ever could on their own. Now, here is something that should genuinely make you pause. The first of these habits is prolonged sitting, spending the majority of your day in one position, whether in front of a television, a computer, or simply resting out of habit rather than necessity. Research has consistently linked extended periods of inactivity to reduced blood flow, weaker muscle maintenance, and slower metabolic function, especially in people over 60. Whose bodies already require more consistent movement to maintain circulation and joint health. This does not mean intense exercise is required. It means simply breaking up long periods of stillness with regular movement. Something as small as standing up every hour can meaningfully counteract this first pattern. The second habit is processed food, not as an occasional treat, but as a consistent daily foundation of the diet. Highly processed foods, often high in refined sugar, unhealthy fats, and low in genuine nutritional value, have been linked in research to increased inflammation throughout the body, one of the key drivers behind accelerated aging and chronic disease risk. This becomes especially important later in life when the body's margin for recovering from poor nutritional choices naturally narrows. The third habit is persistent, unmanaged stress, the kind that builds quietly in the background of everyday life. Financial worry, family tension, health anxiety, without any real outlet or relief. Chronic stress has been closely linked to elevated levels of cortisol, a hormone that, when persistently high, has been associated with accelerated cellular aging, weakened immune function, and increased inflammation. This is not about eliminating stress entirely, which is unrealistic for anyone. It is about recognizing when stress has become a constant, unmanaged presence rather than an occasional temporary experience. The fourth habit is poor sleep, specifically inconsistent or insufficient rest. Something increasingly common as people age due to changing sleep patterns, discomfort, or simply staying up later out of habit. Sleep is one of the most critical windows for cellular repair, memory consolidation, and hormone regulation. Consistently shortchanging this window, even by an hour or 2 most nights, has been linked in research to measurably accelerated signs of aging over time, both cognitively and physically. The fifth and final habit is pushing without proper recovery. Whether that means physical activity without adequate rest, or simply staying constantly busy without allowing your body genuine downtime to repair and restore itself. Many people, especially those who pride themselves on staying active and productive well into their senior years, unintentionally fall into this pattern, mistaking constant activity for health without recognizing that recovery itself is an essential, active part of the aging process, not simply the absence of effort. Think about what this actually means when you see these 5 habits laid out together. Individually, each one might seem manageable, even minor, but most people are not dealing with just one of these patterns in isolation. They're dealing with some combination of several: sitting too much, eating too much processed food, carrying unmanaged stress, sleeping inconsistently, and rarely allowing genuine recovery, all layered together day after day, quietly compounding their combined effect over months and years. Here is something worth sitting with for a moment. Imagine two people in their late 60s, both seemingly similar in overall health today. One has slowly, almost unconsciously, allowed several of these 5 patterns to become their daily norm. The other has become genuinely aware of these specific habits and has made consistent, intentional adjustments, moving more throughout the day, prioritizing whole foods, managing stress proactively, protecting their sleep, and respecting the need for real recovery. Over the following decade, these two people, despite starting from a similar place, may experience remarkably different outcomes in terms of energy, cognitive sharpness, and overall physical resilience. This is exactly why understanding these 5 patterns matters so much, not because any single one of them guarantees decline, but because their combined, repeated presence in daily life may be doing far more to accelerate aging than most people ever realize, simply because these habits feel too small, too ordinary, to take seriously on their own. None of this requires a dramatic life overhaul overnight. It requires honest awareness of which of these 5 patterns show up most consistently in your own daily life, and a willingness to make small, intentional adjustments, moving a little more, eating a little better, managing stress a little more proactively, protecting your sleep a little more consistently, and allowing yourself genuine recovery rather than constant push. So here's my question for you. Out of these 5 habits, which one do you recognize most clearly in your own daily routine right now? I would genuinely love to know honestly where you stand, so drop your answer in the comments below, because I think you'll find you're far from alone in recognizing at least one, or maybe even several, of these patterns in your own life.